So good morning. It's an absolute pleasure to have with me today the CEO of the Real Estate Institute of New South Wales, Tim McKibbin. Morning, Tim.
Morning, Derek. Nice to be with you, although we're all locked down currently. So challenging times, my friend.
No, I know. And I know I normally work from Terrigal, so I thought, because I couldn't get down to the beach this morning to get some photos, I've got a bit of a virtual backdrop of Terrigal, which I thought was the next best thing. Now, Tim, I know you're an extremely busy person at the moment, even in the best of times, so I won't take too much of your time up this morning. But thank you very much for offering to talk to me this morning a bit about what's happening across our great industry at the moment in terms of government support packages, what's happening in the rental space, which is a big topic at the moment, and how to keep on top of an ever-changing real estate landscape to help get through these challenging times that we're going to face over the next 3 to 6 months. So I guess to kick it off, Tim, you've been around for a number of years and you've got a lot of experience and expertise across our industry. What do you see being the biggest single issue that we're facing right now?
Yeah, so despite having a degree of experience in the industry, and you are right, I have been around for a lot of years, so thanks for reminding me for that. But the single biggest issue, I think, is being classified as an essential industry. So unless we can continue trading in what we do, then we go the way of the hotels and the entertainment industry generally. So that's the single biggest issue as far as I'm concerned right now. Everything else is irrelevant. But like so many other people in this space, this is my first pandemic, so we really don't know what the playbook looks like. But that is my single biggest focus now. And if, like I said, if we can't succeed there, we have really serious problems.
And Tim, at the moment we're at level 3, I guess you could call it level 3 restrictions. And I guess that if we move to level 4, there'll be much more tightening in terms of the activities we can do as an industry. How long will it take for this to be, I guess, processed, for the government to come out and acknowledge that our industry should be an essential services?
Yeah, I don't know. If we move from, like I said, this is my first pandemic, so I'm guessing on some of this, but if we move from level 3 to level 4, I'm not sure what that's going to mean in terms of us being able to show property and for that matter, take care of rental property and the rest of it. We're pushing to be able to continue and to be exempt from what level 4 looks like. But there's obviously no guarantees of it. I mean, the argument we're raising is that we are an essential industry in the sense that shelter is one of the basic human requirements. So I think we can make an argument, but whether or not that's going to be accepted is yet to be determined.
Yeah, good point. And I think it's all about adapting as well and being innovative. And we're seeing, a massive change in the way that real estate agents conduct their business, whether that's through inspections by appointment, virtual inspections, virtual auctions. So I think if we can continue to operate in that fashion, at least it'll help us, as an industry, get through the next 3 to 6 months. Speaking about the government, Tim, there's so many support packages that have been released over the last few weeks. In particular, there's the JobKeeper payment, there's boosting for cash flow, as well as many others. What do they really mean for our industry and at an agency level? Do you think they're a game changer and are going to help us get through?
Yeah, look, I'll just come back to your first point, though. I think we need to recognise as an industry, for that matter, all industries need to understand that the environment we're now in is out of our control. We can't change that. The only thing we can do is change what we do and how we do it. So I think we need to accept that, and we need to look at our processes, and you've made some good points in relation to auctioneers. I mean, the auctioneers said, well, I've got to reinvent how I do things, and to their great credit, they've done that. And similarly, with people showing property. Now, it's going to be a lot more labour intensive, only taking a very, very limited number of people through the property. But that's the environment we're in. We can either complain about it or we can adapt. And I think it is very, very important to adapt, and those people who will get to the other end of that will identify that and will adapt. Now, in relation to the support packages out there, we're still yet to get the details. So the JobKeeper program is, at this stage, I can't give you a lot of data on it because all we know is that you've got to be able to demonstrate a 30% decline in business. Now, if you are a coffee shop on the corner, that's going to be pretty much instantaneous. But if you are a real estate agent's office, you will still have those transactions now coming through, and there will be a tail. So you're probably not going to be in a position where you can actually demonstrate that there has been a decline. Now, and I don't know what's going to happen in that space with government, whether or not they're going to impose a one-size-fits-all, or whether or not they're going to recognise that businesses are different and the way that things come through, cash flows come through, are also different. One thing I would say though, Derek, is I would be saying to everybody out there that has, go and register. Now, when you register, that's not making a claim, that is just registering. And the advantage of doing that is you're going to get information as it comes through. And there was some information came through yesterday, which at this stage I haven't had the opportunity to absorb. But my office is and will continue to put that out. But please go and register. Now, again, in relation to tenancy, whether it's residential or retail, the assistance packages coming through there, we are hopeful this week that we're going to get some additional information in that space. Now, there's plenty of talk out there, but nothing of any substance. So the Prime Minister has said that what we're going to be doing is assisting tenants in that space, but you won't be able to evict tenants. And then the Housing Minister at the federal level said, if you can pay your rent, you must go and pay your rent, which was a good statement, because we've seen some, a limited number, but some opportunists out there that have come along and said, I don't have to pay the rent, therefore I'm not. Even though they haven't lost their job and these sorts of things. So we are hopeful this week to get some substance, get some clarity around that so we can work with it. But at this point, we don't. And that's very disappointing because there is so much information out there, is so much misinformation, and that's causing problems of itself.
And you mentioned, Tim, in terms of the rental space. So, the opportunists there, and it's going to be challenging to be able to sort of separate that. But there are going to be generally genuine people that are going to be in need. What would your recommendation be to someone in the industry at the moment? Just sit back and wait until we can get some announcement from the government in terms of some terms and conditions around these packages? Or would you say, you're in this space, it's an opportunity to work closer with the tenants and the landlords to come up with solutions for those that are in need, so that we can all get through the next sort of three to 6 months? What would you recommend?
Yeah, look, I think it is always the case that a negotiated outcome is going to work a lot better than one that's imposed on the parties. So my advice is to sit down with those people who are making an application to be considered and try and come to an agreement with them. Because if you can agree, then they are more likely to embrace that than if you need to go to war with people. Now, this is where I think agents have got the great advantage over a lot of other industries that are going to be, because negotiation is one of the inherent qualities of an agent. Having said that, our friends in the property management area probably don't see as much of that heavy negotiation that, let's say, our friends in the sales area do. But I think they should be starting to think about that. Now, one of the things that we've done to assist property managers is we have a document that they can come and get off our website, our members can. And that sets out, in our view, a base document of all of the information that they should gather, because ultimately they're going to have to go back to their landlord and say to the landlord, this is the circumstances of the tenant.
Yes.
It is of very little use if the tenant says, I want a reduction in my rent, full stop. Well, what does that mean? And why should we give you that? But if you go through a process of gathering the data, recognising the tenant's circumstances, accepting it for what it is after some investigation, obviously, then you can go and have a meaningful discussion with the landlord. And that meaningful discussion will be broader than just that tenant, because we have to look at the market now and the dynamics of the market, because what's going to be happening and is happening is a lot of more stock is going to be coming into the market, particularly, let's say, in your area, Derek. Yours is a classic area. So all of the traditional holiday rental properties and the Airbnb properties are now that are not going to enjoy their market at all, that will come flooding into the market as well. So exactly. When you're having that conversation with the landlord, you're going to have to think about that as well.
And it's a great opportunity to also build, really strong connections and trust and that customer sentiment with your customers to strengthen your business, so that when this is over, your business is running, not crawling. So, it's about working together so that we can all get through this. And you mentioned, Tim, you've got a bit of a cheat sheet or a process on the REI New South Wales website for members. And I guess if you're not a member, someone can reach out to the Real Estate Institute of New South Wales to inquire about becoming a member.
Oh, absolutely. And, I'm obviously going to say this, Derek, but in times like this, we actually see our membership increasing, which is sort of counterintuitive. You think people would be trying to save money, but our membership is actually increasing. And the reason for that is people are looking for information. They're looking for guidance, and they're looking for assistance in being able to get through these tough times. And yes, we are developing as quickly as we can a lot of resources to assist agents out in the field. And as I said to you, the document that we have produced is an evolving document. It's a living document. And the reason for that is, at this stage, we don't know precisely what the rules are. So as soon as we know what the rules are, that living document will be accommodated. But listen, I would like to make this point, if you don't mind.
Sure.
And that is, be very, very careful who you're listening to right now, because there is an enormous amount of misinformation out there.
Yep.
And if you are guided by that, then you'll be going down a pathway where you'll be causing yourself a lot of problems. So please be careful who you listen to.
Yeah, no, great advice. And you're spot on, Tim. There is so much information out there at the moment, and even I've turned off on watching a lot of the news, because there's so much negativity. You're not sure what you're hearing is true and correct in some areas, news or social media. So I think in times like this, this is, as you said, rightly so, it's important that we're careful where we get our information on. But one of the places where we know where we can go is the Real Estate Institute of New South Wales. And, I've had the pleasure of working with yourself, Tim, and the Institute for a long, long time, and highly recommend anyone who needs advice, support, please contact the team at REI New South Wales. I guess to close, Tim, without doubt, these are challenging times, but with challenges comes, a lot of opportunities. What would your top tips be to help people get through these times?
Yeah, so I think we need to go back to the old days, to be frank with you, where we would go out and treat people individually, because we can't go and have open houses now. Back in the day, Derek, you would have a relationship with your potential buyer, and you would treat them as individuals, and you would deal with them on that basis rather than opening up the house. So if I was a young salesperson at this stage, I would go and get somebody from my era or older, and I would say, well, how did we do it back in the day? And you would find that during these tough times, as I said to you, can't change the environment. All we can do is change the way we do things. So I'd be looking at how things were done then. And look, the other thing I think is valuable right now is to start and look at your training, and do training that responds to our environment, because we can't do the way we did business before. We have to do it differently. We have to acquire different skills to do it in this market. So, I don't make the rules, but there they are. Those people who are prepared to adapt we'll come through this.
You know, good tips, Tim. And, you know, as you said, we can't control the environment, but we can control what we can do. We're in control of that, whether it's our own training and development, or the way that we actually have a positive mindset around trying to get the best out of a challenging situation. So, Tim, thank you very much for your time. An absolute pleasure as usual. I know you're incredibly busy. Have a lovely day, and I look forward to catching up with you soon.
Thanks, Derek. Always a pleasure.